devotees, all devotees, some of devotees, always Guru Gaura. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 18. Conclusion, the perfection of renunciation, and today's verses 47 to 50. 4 verses. 47. Shreyan sudharmo viguna paradharma sunishtida swabhava niyadam karma kurvanapnodi kilbisham. Shreyan sudharmo viguna paradharma sunishtida swabhava niyadam karma kurvanapnodi kilbisham. Shreyan sudharmo viguna paradharma sunishtida subhavaniyadam karma kurvanapnodi kilbisham.
Om
Krishna.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shreyan Sudharmo Viguna Paradharma Sunushtuda Swabhavaniyadam Karma Kurvan Namnodi Visham.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Shreyan, better. Swadharma, one's own occupation. Vigunaha, imperfectly performed. Paradharma, another's occupation. Sunishtidad, perfectly done. Subhavaniyadam, prescribed duties according to one's nature. Karma, work. Purvan, performing. Na, never. Apnodi, achieve. Kilvisham, sinful reactions. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Prescribed duties, according to one's nature, are never affected by sinful reactions. Hare Krishna. Verse 48. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham abhinatyaje sarvarambha hi doshena dhumenagnirvavrita. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham abhinatyaje sarvarambha hi doshena dhumenagnirvavrita. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham abhinatyaje sarvarambha hi doshena dhumenagnirivavruta. Yes, Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sahajam Karma Kauteya Sadosham Abhinatyaje Sarvarambha Hitoshena Dhumena Nidivavruta. Krishna.
Sahajam, born simultaneously, karma, work, Kaunteya, or son of Kundi, Sadosham, with fault, Abhi, although, Na, never, Tyaje, to be given up, Sarvarambha, any venture, he is certainly, Doshena, with fault, Dhumena, with smoke, Agni, fire, Iva, as, Avrda, covered. Translation. Every endeavor is covered by some sort of fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work which is born of his nature, or son of Kundi, even if such work is full of fault. Verse 49. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jidatma vigada spriha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchari. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jidatma vigada spriha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchari. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jidatma vigada spriha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchari. Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jidatma vigada spriha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchati. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Asakta buddhi, unattached intelligence. Sarvatra, everywhere. Jidatma, control of mind. Vigata spriha, without material desires. Naishkarmya siddhi, perfection of non-reaction. Paramam, supreme. Sanyasena, by the renounced order of life. Adhigachari, attains. One can obtain the results of renunciation simply by self-control and by becoming attached to material things and disregarding material enjoyments. That is the highest perfection stage of renunciation. Hare Krishna. Verse 50. Siddhim prapyo yatha brahma tadapnodi nibodhame samasenaiva kaunteya nishta jnanasya para. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tadapnodi nibodhame samasenaiva kaunteya nishta jnanasya para. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tadapnodi nibodhame Samasenaiva kaunteya nishta jnanasya ya para. Yes, Maharaji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tथा ज्ञोति bodhame समासेनैव कौन्तेय निष्ठा ज्ञानस्य या परा Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Siddhim, perfection, praptaha, achieving, yatha, as Brahma, the Supreme, tadha, so, apnodi, achieves, nibodha, try to understand, may, from me, samasena, summarily, eva, certainly, kaunteya, O son of Kundi, nishta, stage, jnanasya, of knowledge, ya, which, para, transcendental. O son of Kundi, learn from me in brief how one can attain to supreme perfection stage, Brahman, by acting in the way which I shall now summarize. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Savidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Dadadi Swapadandigam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapadagammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsam Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Saganalidam Shagamidamsam He Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabandho Jagalpade Govesha Gopiga Kandam Radha Kanda Namastude Taptaga Anjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhani Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpadruvescha Kriva Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dhadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Shreyan Sodharmo Viganaha Paradharma Sunishtida Subhavaniyadam Karma Kurvanapno Digil Visham. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Prescribed duties, according to one's nature, are never affected by sinful reactions. Hare Krishna. So, the Nishkama Kama section regarding renunciation and Tyaga, abandonment, abnegation rather. Krishna described it, and then he described what is Jnana, Karma, Karta, Buddhi, Thridi, and Sukha. And then concluded that whatever that is in all the planets, all objects and persons in the planets are not free of these modes of material modes. You have to understand that each and every object and each and every person in each and every universe is under the grip of the modes which are binding us, which is the cause of binding us in this samsara. So the varnas, based on these gunas, there have been a division of varnas, as Krishna has already stated in fourth chapter, Chaturvarnim Maya Sishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So, what does the duties are? What is the gunas and duties of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra? When described verses 41, 42, 43, and 44, in that Brahmana duty qualities, you can see Shama, mental control, sense control, austerities, cleanliness, tolerance, honesty, etc., etc. Jnana, is all qualities of Brahmana. Basically, it is qualities in general also, because as we know, nobody has got a clear guna, is not situated in one pure guna, either Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. It's always a mixture. That means the qualities, the gunas, which have been described as belonging to Brahmana, can be seen, can be perceived in Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, even sometimes in Shudras also. But these gunas, which are belong to Brahmanas, are easily performed by Brahmanas because they are situated predominantly in Satoguna. A person predominantly situated in Satoguna can easily control the mind, senses, and do austerities, and read Vedas, Upanishads, and for acquiring knowledge. So for them, it is more easier rather than other two groups. Likewise, Shauryam, Teja, Dhridi, Dakshyam, and all that is Vaishyas and Shudras is also having that. We also know that Dhridi, determination. What kind of determination the different gunas are having, we already see. So the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, everyone is having the determination. Everybody has the power. But Kshatriya, it's more easily and it's more available in abundance. They are most courageous, more powerful. They have greater determination. They are experts, and they don't back off from battle, run away or flee from war. Is not in their nature. And Dhanam, Ishabham, etc. is easily performed by Kshatriyas. Likewise, business everybody can also do. Cow protection also can be done by everybody. But Vaishyas have got a special quality in them which makes them easier for them to do this thing: farming, cattle rearing, business, trade, banking. These things the Vaishyas can perform easily than other groups. And Shudra, of course, their inclination or their tendency is to serve other three varnas. So you can see, superficially, it may appear that Brahmanas' qualities and Brahmanas' karma are superior to that of Kshatriya and Vaishya. So there will be a natural tendency on the part of the lower gunas to accept those duties which are belonging to a higher varna, namely Brahmana. So there's always a tendency. Likewise, Arjuna also had this tendency. Arjuna basically is a grihastha, so naturally he is a karma yogi. He has to execute action. Instead, he wants to relinquish action and take up the jnana path, abstaining from action, thinking that that is more suitable for him, and there is no violence, etc., etc. But Krishna, sensing this mode of Arjuna, says, Shreyan sudharmo viguna paradharma sunishtida swabhava nidan karma kurvana nodilbisham. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly. Now, previously Krishna already said that the perfection of one's karma is how you surrender or offer the karmas which are being performed by them to Krishna, which takes away the faulty portion of the guna, of the karma. And everyone, irrespective of whether they are placed higher or lower in the varna system, whether you are on the lower ladder or on the higher step of the ladder, every one of them have equal chance of attaining Brahman, so long as they are performing their duties as an offering to Krishna. This Krishna has already said. But still, Arjuna is entertaining the notion that some work is superior than other work. So Krishna is now reassuring him, no, it's better you do your own work according to your swabhava niyada, according to your nature, which is determined by the imprints that is imprinted in your heart, vasanas, due to previous actions. So Krishna says it's better, even though you may perform it with faults. Viguna. Viguna means with fault. You may sometimes, because Krishna, Arjuna already said that, when Krishna said that you have to fight without passion or likeness or dislike, without aversion or attraction. Krishna said that in verse number 34 of the 3rd chapter, Indriyasyarthe ragadvesha vavestido tayornavasham agache tauhi asya paribantino. This he has already stated. And Arjuna was saying that, yes, you asked me to perform war without attraction or repulsion. But unfortunately, my nature is such that I cannot fight without attraction or repulsion. So I feel that I'm unfit to do the war. I cannot perform my duty, my swakarma, faultlessly. So Krishna says here, even though you do it faultily also, no problem, because in next life, you have better chance of performing it more perfectly. So Krishna says that one should not artificially claim that himself to be Brahmana, thinking that other works are abominable. So don't leave the duties, the prescribed duties which had been adjudicated to you according to your guna, even though you may think that you can do the other varnas duties perfectly. Paradharma sunishtidat. This is not sustainable, because Arjuna basically is a Kshatriya. By guna, he is very much a Kshatriya. So in the short run, he may be able to perform the duties of Brahmana, but over the long period, he will not be able to do it. So that means even due to danger situation, performing something that's not your own, and that too, midway, you're floundering. That is, previously is Bhayavaha. In 35, the same verse, second verse, Sudharma Nidanesheya Paradharma Bhayavaha. It's better to die doing one's own duty rather than take up another's duty, which is very, very fearful. So Krishna says, Swabhava Nidam Karma Kurva Natnodi Kilbisham. Whatever is your nature, ascribe to your nature, you do that, you do it, and it will not attract any sinful reactions. You should be bothered more about sinful reactions rather than be attracted to somebody's duties, someone else's work. It may sound to be attractive, but our basic concern should be that when we do a work, it should be free from sinful reactions. And only way to ensure that this is free from sinful reactions is to meticulously follow the Shastras. The Shastras is only prescribing the prescribed duties. In the third chapter, verses 14-15, you can see Annad Bhavanti Budhani Parjanya Anna Sambhava Yajna Bhavanti Parjanyo Yajna Karma Samudbhavaha. Then where is karma coming from? Karma Brahmodbhavam Vidhi Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. Regulated activities are prescribed in Vedas, and Vedas are directly manifested from Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the prescribed duties are prescribed. Who is prescribing this? This is duties assigned to such and such a varna. That is a prescribed duties. Who is prescribing these duties? Is Vedas. And since Vedas are prescribing is, you don't have to fear about sinful reactions. There will be none. So Arjuna, please don't be carried away thinking that the Kshatriya karma is breeding violence and Brahmana karma is so much nicer. Every karma has its own faults, which in the next verse Krishna confirms in the next verse 48. Sahajam karma kaundeya sadoshama vinatyaje sarvaram bahidoshena dhumena nirvavrada. Just because karma is faulty. Yes, karma is faulty because karma is arising from guna. Karma is arising from guna. And guna is contained in this body. And this body is temporary. So naturally, the karma arising from body or coordinate karma will be temporary. And temporary, all temporary things has got shortcomings. It is faulty. It is faulty in the beginning. Since it's temporary, it is faulty. It is not that it doesn't have an origin. Nasado vidyade bhava, nasado vidyade sada. Krishna says 16 verse. Actually, we say body is temporary. The idea is that body is not permanent and soul is permanent. Body can now be permanent and soul can now be impermanent. Shankaracharya has given law-break commentary on that verse, that is 3.16, and also in this verse also 48, 18.48. Here he is actually refuting theories of Vaisheshikas. Vaisheshikas, according to them, a work which is not temporary in origin can be exhausted or replaced by something else, some other work. So what is the difference between the two kinds of work? So in reply to that, Shankaracharya refuting, quoting this 3.16, he says that which is not existing cannot come into existence, and that which is existing cannot lapse into non-existence. Vaisheshiya Vada is that now that may be a non-existing, but once it comes to existence, what is no existence may lapse into non-existence. Logically, it may sound good, but Krishna has said that na sado vidyade bhava, na asado vidyade sada. But Shankaracharya says that what is non-existence, that thing which doesn't have origin, can never have an origin, and what that is existing can never lapse into non-existence. So, according to that Siddhanta, the body doesn't have an origin. That is where they're saying Mithya, Jagat Mithya. Jagat includes planets as well as bodies. Jagat Mithya, because it doesn't have an origin. But that is not true. In 13.21, 20 rather, Krishna says, Pragatim Purusham Vidhi Vidhi yes. Pragatim Purusham Cheva Vidhi Anadi Ubhavavi. Anadi. Vidhi Anadi Ubhavi. Means Anadi means without any beginning, which means its origin. This means both are permanent. Permanent means origin, means Sat. But only the manifestation of Prakriti is temporary. That is what Krishna says, what Siddhanta says, and what Vaishnavas accept. Because Prakriti is Krishna's energy, and naturally, Krishna being Satya, truth, his energies are also true. Prakriti is also permanent, it is Anadi, like Purusha. So it has an origin. It's not true that Asat doesn't mean doesn't mean something that doesn't have an origin. It only means it is not permanent. Permanent and temporary. Permanent is soul. Temporary is body, because body is a manifest is what do you call it? Temporary manifestation only. It's a transformation of the original Prakriti. So the point is, when the body is permanent, it's not his body is temporary. Naturally, those that connected with body karma is also permanent. It's also temporary, and so it is faulty. So any type of karma, whether it is a Brahmani karma, Kshatriya karma, Vaishya karma, or Shudra karma, all works are temporary, and therefore every work is faulty. But still, for our perfection of consciousness, for purification, we have to perform this work, irrespective of whether it is faulty or not. That is what Gita teaches us. It is faulty, but doesn't mean that you have to leave it, saying that is faulty. Cannot be renounced. Krishna gives an example of smoke and fire. Smoke is the energy of fire. Fire has got heat and light. Smoke doesn't have that. And when the smoke is covering the fire, the heat of fire is covered for some time. It becomes diminished. Does that mean that we should not light a fire? We should light a fire and see that the smoke is driven off. And when the smoke is driven off, the fire becomes brighter, then becomes more hot, and gives up more light also. Likewise, the karma is covered by fault. And this fault, when it is offered to Krishna, the karma is offered to Krishna, the fault in the karma is purified or more faultless by the grace of Krishna. So every job has got imperfection. Dishonesty, violence, everything is same. Even for Brahmana also, killing of animals is same, and procuring the ingredients like honey and all that. involves violence. Kshatriya, of course, violence is there, duplicity is there. In case of Vaishya, lying is there, dishonesty is there, black marketing is there. And in case of Shudras, when he's working for a cruel master, he has to do some bad karma. So, just because of work has got fault, we should not be the fault, because we have to perfect ourselves by doing this work. There's no other way. So Krishna is teaching Arjuna that no work is absolutely free from fault, and so therefore no work is abominable. Do your prescribed duties, and when you do the prescribed duties, you definitely get what is stated in 46, Siddhi Mindari Manava. And how does it how does this works? How this perfection is attained? Step by step is mentioned 49, 50, and next verses. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jidatma vigadaspha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchati. Asakta buddhi, unattached intelligence. The first thing we have to get unattached is intelligence. Intelligence is a discriminatory knowledge which you have. Using that discrimination, you have to detach yourself from all those things which are an impediment to gathering of the true knowledge. The Shastras are aimed at the intelligence only. And when the intelligence is pure, the teachings of Shastra become easily clear, understandable. And when you have grasped the essence of Vedas, the Shastras, then you get more and more purified. And when the intelligence is pure, you can easily control the mind. Jidatma. Asakta buddhi, jidatma. And when the mind is controlled, naturally, you can easily, it will not be a prey to material desires. Because the means free from material desires. The mind no longer contains lust, anger, and all those things, which is, initiating these desires, igniting these desires. And when intelligence is clear, mind is clear, and the senses are pure, then Naishkama Siddhim. Naishkama Siddhi means Naishkama Karmas, the perfection of Naishkama Karma, which is not realization, Paramam. Sanyasena Adhigacchati. Sannyasena means by the renounce of, by that means one has reached a Yogarudha stage. Aruduksha and Arudha, two terms which are used in the 6th chapter. Aruha means one who is ascending, one who is entering the spiritual life and is trying to improve, advance himself in the spiritual life. And for them, karma is essential. Near the karma, the prescribed duties must be executed. There's no other way. But when you reach a perfection, Naishkarmya Siddhim, when you reach a perfection Siddhim, then Sannyasa, then you can give up these prescribed duties. Till then, you have to do it day in and day out. That is what verse 17 of the 3rd chapter mentions this. That Yesu Atmaradirevasya Atmatriptascha Manava Atmanyeva Sandushtas Tasya Karmana Vidyade. Tasya Karmana Vidyade. For him, no more prescribed duties. When you are now fully enjoying and mainly relishing the Brahma Sukha and taking pleasure in the self, illuminated in the self, and rejoices in the self, and is satisfied in the self, for that person, no more prescribed duties. And what we say is that when you reach the attraction for the Lord, which is actually the real thing. When you attraction for Lord, when you advance in Krishna consciousness and you develop the real traction for Krishna prema, till that time you have to do, till the time you achieve the state of pure prema, till that time you have to execute your prescribed duties. But once you reach the Krishna prema stage, when Ananda stage, when attraction for Krishna is permanently instilled in your heart, at that time you can relinquish your prescribed duties. And how it is possible? Krishna mentions 50 verse, Siddhim prapto yadha brahma tada nodini bodhame. How one can attain to the supreme perfection state Brahman? How we can reach the supreme perfection stage of Brahman? I'll describe in coming verses. And not only I'll describe how we can reach Brahman, I'll also describe Jnanas Nishta, Nishta Jnanasya Yapara. What is the Nishta that is required for achieving the supreme Jnana, which is Bhagwan realization. The highest Jnana is Jnana about Krishna. And what is the knowledge of Krishna? Verse number 29 of 5th verse makes it very clear. Bhoktaram yatnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhudam sarvabhudanam jnatva mam shandri. Jnatva, then that knowledge, the highest knowledge about Krishna. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer of yajna and tapa. Now the real contents of the karma, yajna as well as tapa. Krishna is the enjoyer, nobody else. That is the first realization of Krishna. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram is a controller of, or the supreme controller of all the universes. And Suhudam Sarvabhudanam is the only well-wisher, benevolent well-wisher of all the living entities. That knowledge of Krishna, the supreme knowledge also, I'll describe summarily. Please listen, Arjuna. That is what Krishna says in verse 50. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpalurvasya kripā sindhuvi eva ca padanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Nanda Gaudiya Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.